I'm Alex Sharfin, and this is the Momentum Podcast, made for empire builders, game changers, trailblazers, shot takers, record breakers, world makers, and creators of all kinds. Those among us who can't turn it off and don't know why anyone would want to. We challenge complacency, destroy apathy, and we are obsessed with creating momentum so we can roll over bureaucracy and make our greatest contribution. Sure, we pay attention to their rules, but only so that we can bend them, break them, then rewrite them around our own will. We don't accept our destiny, we define it. We don't understand defeat because you only lose if you stop, and we don't know how. While the rest of the world strives for average and clings desperately to the status quo, we are the minority, the few, who are willing to hallucinate there could be a better future, and instead of just daydreaming of what could be, we endure the vulnerability and exposure it takes to make it real. We are the evolutionary hunters, clearly the most important people in the world, because entrepreneurs are the only source of consistent, positive human evolution, and we always will be. The Cadence of Success. In a minute, I want to tell you the fastest and most important tool that I can give you in order to climb the Billionaire Code and to continue to progress and to continue to go up this structure, this framework, so that you can get to where you know you want to be. But first, I want to thank you. Yesterday was a huge day for my team and I. The Momentum Podcast was downloaded over 5,400 times. It is crazy that every day I get to give a keynote speech to 5,400 people, and I want you to know I appreciate you. I can't thank you enough. We've gotten over 140 five-star reviews. I think I haven't looked in the past couple of days, but I look at least 2 or 3 times a week. I think we still have 100% five-star reviews. Actually, not 130. I think we're over 150 now. So if you haven't left, we would love it if you would leave a review, but just wanted to thank you because every time we hit a record day, it's so exciting for us, and 5,400 is incredible. We just launched this last July. We've really had very little paid advertising. Most of it's just been all organic, so thank you. And the last 2 weeks of doing this have been a lot of fun because going through the Billionaire Code it's so exciting for me. I remember when I first put this together, when I first figured out all the numbers and the categories and how it worked and how clarifying it was. So from that day forward, every time I've talked to an entrepreneur, I usually have the Billionaire Code pulled up because then I can identify exactly where they are and I know who I'm dealing with. It gave me like superpowers when it came to talking to entrepreneurs because I always knew what pain they were most likely feeling and what pain they were most likely stepping into and what success they were just stepping out of. So once I could identify those things, I knew exactly how to help them. And I remember my friend Brent Dusing came over and I was like, hey man, I got to show you something. And I went and got my iPad and I pulled up the spreadsheet where I built it and I shared it with him. And I felt like I was sharing the greatest discovery of my life. Well, but first, that was probably the entrepreneurial personality type. First, I remember the first time I went and talked to Katie about that, and then my friend Dennis Welch. That same type of feeling came with the Billionaire Code because I knew the second it all came together that this was absolutely the Rosetta Stone that entrepreneurs are looking for about how do you get to the next level being a person like us. Because let's be really clear, every one of us just wants to keep going into greater and greater levels of momentum. One of my clients tonight, Natalie Hodson, asked on our group coaching call, she said, what if I'm okay with my business just being at the size that it is now? What if I'm okay with that? Like, what if I decide I'm just going to stay here? And I shared with her that people like us just don't do that. First, businesses have a hard time finding stasis. They can't just stay in one place. In fact, if you want to see businesses that stay in one place, go to that local restaurant that's struggling to stay in business. Go look at some of the local businesses that you have where they don't really have a way to grow. They don't have a way to go up or go down. They just keep doing the same thing every year. There's no life in those places. And it's really hard to just park a business at a place. In fact, what happens is it's hard for us as entrepreneurs to stay there. And what I shared with Natalie is that, especially in her case, she's already squeezed that toothpaste out of the tube. She's created a level of notoriety and a level of market that people, millions of women know who she is. Hundreds of thousands of them have bought from her, are in her database, have interacted with her. She's solved fundamental women's issues that nobody else talks about. Like, your business is going to continue to keep growing if you keep doing that, and you're not going to stop doing that. And so you are going to want to know how to get up the Billionaire Code as fast as possible. And there's a cadence to the success in the Billionaire Code. And this is what we teach as a company. This is what we share with people. I want to give you exactly what we do to help organizations grow at a pace that they didn't think possible. See, each new level of the Billionaire Code brings with it increased complexity and complication, because as your business grows, the level of things you deal with are going to increase in complexity. You will have departments you never thought you needed to have. You will have compliance issues that you have to deal with. You will have legal issues. You'll have structural issues. You're going to have to take care of those issues. So there's a massive increased complexity or complication. There's also increased exposure. As your business grows, you will absolutely feel increased exposure. You'll feel increased vulnerability. You will have to increase the rate of your behavioral change at each new level of the Billionaire Code. And in a lot of cases, these things get exponentially harder. To go from delegating a few things to delegating everything, to delegating success, to giving up autonomy of time, that is exponentially harder for people like us. And no other coach is going to tell you this. Because let's be honest, what everybody else wants to sell is stuff like you can run your business on autopilot, or you can build a self-managing company, or you can sip Mai Tais and make money. You know what? The guy who's selling you the sip Mai Tais and make money program, the only time he was drinking the Mai Tai was because he had to take it for the photo shoot so he could sell you the program that doesn't really work. And the challenge with the guy who says run your business on autopilot is they're going to sell you something and then give you a result that's going to work for the place where you are right then, not ongoing. Because here's what anyone who's ever grown a business of any substance knows: there's no such thing as autopilot. You have to be intellectually and emotionally engaged in that business. It doesn't have to take your time, but you have to be intellectually and emotionally engaged in that business to continue to trust it and to continue to grow that enterprise. And so the cadence of success is the absolute structure that your company runs on. See, it's the things that most entrepreneurs neglect, avoid, miss, are late for, and cause to seem unimportant. It's when you're planning with your team. It's when you're spending time with your team in meetings, when you're together. It's when you're measuring things with your team. That is the most important time you spend as an organization. I'm going to say it again. The time with your team is the most important time you spend. And here's what that time looks like in most companies. It's haphazard, not telegraphed. People don't know it's coming. I watch in most organizations, people walking into meetings and literally asking each other, hey, what is this meeting for? And there isn't even any shame in doing it. That's just how we do meetings. You ask what it's for as you walk in. And when you think about how random that is, what we need to understand about most organizations is that we are asking people to survive in a completely random environment. We're asking our team to be consistent, and we're putting them in a completely random environment. And we're not giving them what they need to succeed, because what you need to succeed is that there is consistency in your company, that there is calm inside your organization, that people trust each other, that they communicate transparently, that they feel safe, they feel understood, they know how they're getting judged, they don't feel like they're randomly threatened, they don't feel a sense of threat, they know what to expect, they know that they can win, they understand what the meeting's about, it's been telegraphed, they know they're prepared, they're ready to show up and give you their all. That's what you want in your organization. And the challenge is in most companies, we have a completely random system. Meetings are late, they're held, sometimes they're not held. If something important comes up, they're canceled. People don't know what they can and can't rely on. So you have people in the organization just trying to survive and just trying to make it through. The way that you can completely change this is to create an absolute structure that's predictable within your organization. And here's what I mean about absolute structure. That means that your meetings happen at the same time every time, no matter what. That means that when you are meeting on strategic meetings, the strategic people who are supposed to be in the room don't take vacation time. They're there and they're prepared, and they've been working on this stuff to prepare for a while. They've known it was coming. They understood what was there or what was expected so that they could win. And if you want your organization to succeed, create consistency and create an expected communication system. Make it the most reliable system in your company. Make it so that everyone knows your daily huddle happens every day at the same time. Your weekly meeting is exactly at the same time. Make it so that your monthly, your quarterly, your annual planning, everything is a system with a structure that has clear choreography, clear intention. People know exactly what's going on. It's expected, it's understood, and everyone has a clear chance to win. Because when you do this, here's what happens. You create calm inside your company. You create clarity inside your company. You create an atmosphere where people can actually perform and produce and overcome things and adapt and make things happen. And you exist in a storm. Every business exists in a storm because we're in a market environment. There's competitors, there's shifting issues, there's challenges, there's growth that happens, there's the environment, the economy might affect your business, eventually politics might affect your business. There's going to be all kinds of things that affect your business from the outside in. So make the inside as strong as possible by creating a clear, expected, and understood communication system where you don't miss meetings, where you're on time, where you show up and the team wins together. Meetings become targeted. You know exactly what the intention is. They're primed, which means people people know they're coming ahead of time. They're choreographed. Every single person in the room knows exactly how the meeting's going to run. They can anticipate what's going to be said next. They're intentional. So you know exactly what you're going to have. At the beginning, you know what your outcome is. And these meetings have clear, limited outcomes. Like, the fact is, far too many meetings digress, get crazy. People don't know what they're talking about. There is no agenda. And you can, if you commit to doing the opposite and you have clear outcomes for a meeting, people go in, they can perform at their absolute best. They're not afraid to invest their time in the meeting because they know it'll be efficient and it'll actually work. And your entire team wins together. And as you do meetings, you will win more and more. My team celebrates at the end of almost every meeting we have because it was an awesome meeting and because we're working the system even better. Our structure is working better. We're succeeding in a better way. This week, we had an incredible weekly meeting, and we talk about that stuff. Like, I actually think about it. I get excited about the time that I spend with my team. And so when you create an absolute structure, when it's expected, when you stop missing meetings, when your team knows when you'll be there, when the communication doesn't come from on high, it comes when they expect it. It comes when they know it's coming. Everything in your business will change. And as you climb the Billionaire Code, that cadence, that system, that structure becomes increasingly important because at seeker, starter, maybe even promoter, it's really just you. So we sell that system in Momentum Masterclass. If you go to momentummasterclass.com, we have the cadence, the structure for anyone who's in seeker or starter. And then at promoter, builder, operator, you start bringing in people. You need an entry-level cadence where you have one level of communication. And there's one level of meetings because it's a small team at that point. And then when you get past there, you get to operator, leader, owner. Now you need a more robust communication system because it's 2, sometimes 3 levels deep. But how is everyone in the organization made aware of where the business is going? And how does each person know for their role, what is the clear outcome they need to achieve? What are they accountable, and what is everyone else around them accountable to? And what scoreboard is being used as a measure of success? What milestones are you checking off? What metrics are you measuring for each individual? If you create this system in your company, here's what happens. You can't help but succeed, because this is a structure that will increase morale like crazy. When everyone knows that they can expect to win together, when everyone knows the meeting's going to happen on time, when everyone knows that your business runs like a well-oiled machine, when there's a cadence to success, they actually start using it. They get excited about it. They commit resources to it. They will give you discretionary time if you make it so that they can trust it. And when you build this absolute structure, everyone on your team will understand what they need to be doing to have the most effective time together. We don't have meetings in our company. We call our meetings in our organization, and we train targeted interactions. You get together, you have an interaction, there's a targeted outcome, and you make that happen on the way out. And then as part of this communication cadence, you must have a forward planning system where you show people where your business is going. So where are you going to be in a year? What are you doing in the next 90 days to get there? What part of that are you getting done in the next 30 days? What are your commitments for the week? And then what is the productivity for the day? Because if you build that forward-looking structure, you don't have to talk to your team all the time. You can use minimum effective dose transformational leadership to get massive results. That's how you get up the Billionaire Code. You have a system and a structure that happens the same way every time for everyone, because here's who it's most important for. You. Because here's what you know and I know about us as entrepreneurs. We can lose perspective quickly. We can have emotions of fear and frustration and anxiety and all kinds of other things that happen when we're not clear about what's going on. We know that we can lose perspective and change things without really understanding the consequences. And we also know that if we're not measuring things and we don't have clarity around what's really going on, we have a hard time seeing where success really is. And here's why it's most important for you, is that if you're willing to commit to a cadence where it happens on time and you're there every time and your team can count on it, you can also count on it. You create a level playing field when it comes to measurement. You create a level playing field when it comes to the time with which your team meets together. You create a level playing field where you can measure the same way over and over, and the perspective of how much you can get done and create success will go through the roof, because now you have a system showing you consistent feedback over and over again, and that will allow you to improve. Because here's what I know about you as a person. Anytime in your life that you've had a clear outcome that mattered to you, you've understood what your responsibilities are and what was of those around you, and there was a system that made sense to you, and a scoreboard that you cared about, you have ended up at or near the top. And my guess is at the top. And what this cadence does, when you install a system where you meet at the same times, you measure at the same times, you look at the same results, you get together in the same way, you have choreographed meetings, you have intentional outcomes, your whole team knows what to expect, you will get exponential results. Because what a cadence in your company does, what having that regularity, that clarity, that consistency will do in your organization will cause everyone on your team to trust where you're going and to give you more and to lean in, especially when times are hard or when things get tough or when you need to adapt. Your entire team will pull together because they know they're going to be together again, and they know the next meeting's coming. And this in it of itself creates accountability. And the reason that a structure like this is so crucially important at every level of the Billionaire Code is this. Once you get to builder and operator and above, it's your ability to lead a team that is going to create your success. And one of the myths of leadership is that somehow as a leader, you apply pressure to your team and they get things done. If that's how you're going to try and be a leader, it's going to be a very hard road for you, because when we as leaders have to try and push and motivate and prod and remind our team to go forward, it is exhausting for us. If you're doing that right now, I feel bad for you. You're in transactional management. The reality of the best way to lead a team as you go up the Billionaire Code is to create a cadence, a structure where everyone's accountable to each other, because nothing slips through the cracks. See, if you have a clear structure, a clear communication structure where the same things are being measured and everyone agrees on what you're doing and you're reporting to each other regularly and meeting together in a transparent way, nothing falls through the cracks. So your team's ability to get things done goes stratospheric. And the more consistent the cadence is, the better your team will do. And the more you lean in on creating that consistency, that structure, that expectation from everyone, the more you will see your team rise to the occasion. Because the fact is that people in general want to win, and they want to win with what they spend most of their time on, which is work. And if you provide a cadence and a structure and the cadence of success in your company, everything in your business will shift for the better, and you will see your team show up in a way you didn't really expect they could. And if you're interested in having this cadence, regardless of where you are on the Billionaire Code, reach out to us, because we can help you. We can show you how our personal planning cadence can help you get through seeker, starter, promoter. We can show you how our business planning cadence can help you get through builder, operator, leader, and beyond. So go to billionairecode.com and give us some information, answer a few questions for us. We will send you a full outline of the Billionaire Code. We'll also show you where you are along the Billionaire Code. And if you're interested, you can set up a time to talk to one of our team members, and they can tell you what we have available to help you climb the code. Thanks for being here with me.